Good morning, friends. Welcome to yet another awesome session of Mindful Living. We truly appreciate your taking out the time and joining us this Saturday morning. I promise you that this investment of 60 to 90 minutes will be one of the best that you would have made in this year. Today, we are going to talk about a topic which is a very important one, but not being talked about much publicly, which is mentoring. Mentoring is not new to India. From times immemorial, we have had coaching and mentoring being offered in India, but not using those words, and somehow they are used interchangeably, which is not the right thing, and which is one of the things that our speaker today, Mr. Sunil Deshmukh, is going to clarify. What is the difference between mentoring, coaching, counseling, and consulting? uh, I have worked in organizations where there were in some organizations there were formal mentoring programs, some which had informal mentoring programs. But whichever way the mentoring program the organizations had a tremendous impact. If you have had the benefit of having a mentor, someone mentor you, I'm sure you would have realized the immense benefits of having one. And in case you have not had one, we would truly urge you to find a mentor. And that is that is one of the things we are going to talk about in the session today. The session is being organized in a series of sessions that we're going to have in this month to celebrate International Gita Jayanti. This is the first one, and we are kicking off the celebration with this session by Mr. Sunil Deshmukh. Mr. Sunil Deshmukh is the Global Chair Emeritus and Director of IMA USA. He served as the Global Chair of IMA for 2024-25. He was the first Asian to do so. He also served as the Associate Dean of the IMA Mentoring Program from 21 to 23 and as a member of the IMA Leadership Advisory from 2020 to 2023. He serves as independent director on Kinetic Communications Limited, and I have had the privilege of knowing him as a fellow mentor from IIM Nagpur. I've had the benefit of knowing him for a couple of years now, and he is an amazing person, a truly authentic leader, a mentor, coach, uh, you know, and he's the best to speak on this topic. In his previous life, he has served as CFO, CEO, Managing Director, and Group CEO in multiple roles spanning different geographies across the world. He has done an advanced management and leadership program from Oxford, value-based leadership program from Aspen, USA. He's also an alumni of Symbiosis International University and is FCMA, FCS, and CMA. And most recently, he was honored with the doctorate from California Public University for his contributions in the field of corporate leadership and management accounting. So, friends, I will request you to please unmute yourself and welcome Mr. Sunil Deshmukh with a big round of applause.
Thank you. Thank you, Ashish. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Sunil. Thank you for taking out time to be here. Sunil has a busy schedule, and very difficult to. One of the first questions I ask him is which time zone you are in. Before I connect with him, because he's constantly traveling in different time zones. But before I hand over the session to him, I'll take a minute to introduce myself, as many of you are joining our session for the first time. My name is Ashish Kumar, and I am the founder of Mindful Living. We started Mindful Living community in 2020 when the first COVID lockdown took place. And few of my friends reached out to me to conduct a session on mindfulness to help them deal with the stress and anxiety that the first lockdown was causing. Being a certified mindfulness meditation teacher, I conducted a session for few of my friends, and one thing led to the other. And today we have grown to be a vibrant community of over 1,000 people. We have continued the tradition of holding the pro bono sessions on application of mindfulness on a weekly basis. So every weekend we have this sessions where we invite eminent speakers to talk on different topics related which help us becoming healthier, happier, and wealthier. So if you would like to be a part of this community to get updates about the sessions we organize, please click on the link that we are sharing in the chat and join the community. It's a no nonsense WhatsApp group where there are no good morning or good night messages, no random forwards, only people supporting each other and living consciously. In my previous life, I worked with organizations like Xerox, Tata AIA, Future Rally, and Marsh. I'm an MBA from SIBM Pune, a cost accountant, fellow of Life Management Institute, and a certified mindfulness meditation teacher, author of a best-selling book, Beyond Limits, and a mentor to students of IIM Nagpur. This is also the QR code which you can scan to join our WhatsApp community, and also the YouTube link of our Mindful Living channel, where you can get sessions from world-class speakers like Sunil Deshmukh. There are more than 250 sessions that we have there. Sunil's previous session was about the book Deshmukh, which we conducted in September, and Deshmukh is a brilliant book. Those of you who have read it would know about it. Those of you who are yet to read it, I would urge you to pick up that Deshmukh, because it contains brilliant lessons on leadership and Sunil Deshmukh's journey from a small town in Nanded, in schools where the medium of instruction was Marathi, to the global, being the global chairperson of IMA and the first Asian to be nominated. So brilliant, brilliant journey. Please pick up the book and benefit from it, and keep the cameras on so that it's really wonderful. The duration of the session per se will be about an hour, and after that we will open it up for Q&A, so that may take another 20 to 30 minutes. So please keep your calendars blocked till about 12:30 or so. Before we open up the session for Q&A, we will request you for your feedback. It's a small feedback form that will take you 30 seconds or so. So please fill that up, and then we'll open up the session for Q&A. But while the session is on, please stay actively engaged, show love if you like something, or thumbs up, or keep posting your questions. We will keep a track of it, and we will ask them on your behalf, towards the end of the session. And if you have a comment also, you can share in the session. So on that happy note, I invite Sunil to talk about this wonderful practice of mentoring, being a mentor, and supporting. It's both ways. Sometimes you seek mentors, sometimes you mentor somebody else. Because in my personal experience, what I have seen is, I've benefited so much being mentored, and there, sometimes I wonder, how can I ever give back to them? And it's not possible. And then I realized that it is not about giving back to them, but giving to someone else. It's kind of paying forward, so that tradition continues. So Sunil, thank you very much for the work you're doing as a mentor, as a coach, and in this space, and for sharing this timeless ancient wisdom with us. Thank you, Sunil. And thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Good morning to all. Thank you very much, Ashish, for the great introduction. And I'm happy to see a lot of known faces. So I'm feeling I'm in the battlefield where my relatives are sitting on the other side, and I have to talk in front of them, and I'm getting scared because I know many of these faces. So I'm really getting scared, and I need my own Krishna now. So you have to act as my Krishna, maybe, Ashish, and you have to help me. But thank you very much. And let me first try to share my screen. And okay, can you see my screen?
It's coming up, Sunil. It's coming up.
Can you see it? No. Yeah.
Yeah, now we can see.
So thank you very much. And I hope you can see the screen. Let me start with something, make it very clear. I am not an expert in Bhagavad Gita. Let me be very frank about that. So don't expect me to be able to start talking all those 700 shlokas, which are included in 18 chapters of the Bhagavad Gita, the epic Mahabharata's. Mahabharata had 111,000 verses of shlokas. Gita is a part of Mahabharata, and we all know that, which consists of 700 verses or 700 shlokas. Typically, the questions asked by Arjuna and answers given by the Lord Krishna. Now, I have been talking about mentoring for a very long time. This is a topic which was very close to my heart because I personally believe my life was changed by my mentors. And that's where I got exposed to the term called mentoring, which was not very common when I used to work. At that time, I was a CFO with Goodyear. Someone wrote in my message box with Goodyear tires, with Foster's beer, with McDonald's. And I got fantastic mentors in my life. And if I remember correctly, it was Narayan Murthy, the Infosys chairman or founder, who brought this concept of mentor in India for the first time, and it became very popular later on. So I'm not an expert on Bhagavad Gita. Let me be very, very open and clear about that. As you know, 1st of December was the Gita Jayanti, which is the very important festival, if you may want to say that. And you can even see that on the screen, on my presentation screen, Narendra Modi presenting the Bhagavad Gita in the Russian language to Vladimir Putin in yesterday's meeting. And I remember that Bhagavad Gita was banned at some point of time in Russia, in USSR. And I remember those days, what used to happen when people used to carry the book of Bhagavad Gita into Russia and all those things. Bhagavad Gita has got its tremendous importance in the life of all of us, not only from a religious point of view. By the way, I don't call Bhagavad Gita as a religious book. I call it as a management book, or it's a book which tells you how to be successful in the life, right? And I'm still trying to learn Bhagavad Gita. I have listened Bhagavad Gita. In olden days, your grandmother, your grandfather will explain you the Bhagavad Gita. I had gone through the similar fashion. I have read, of course, some of the parts, not fully as of yet, but I'm happy to say that I have been talking on this topic. When I remember first, I gave a lecture on mentoring in 2020 during the first lockdown, and I started talking about how Lord Krishna was a good mentor, or a mentorship started happening, and the friendship and counseling and all those type of things. I used the reference of Bhagavad Gita first time in 2020, and I'm happy, I'm nostalgic that today again I got an opportunity to speak on this topic about the mentoring through the lens of Bhagavad Gita, the timeless wisdom for modern leadership. Okay, now let's create a background. I'm trying to create a background here, and basically you all know the battlefield of Kurukshetra, where Arjuna was supposed to fight the war with the Kauravas, his own brothers, his own relatives, his own gurus, his brothers, sisters, all relatives. And what was happening in the battlefield? Arjuna was confused between the duty and emotion. He was overwhelmed by the expectations. He had a fear of failure. He had a self-doubt whether he can win this war or not, even though he was the world's, at that point of time, the best, the fighter as far as the Dhanurvidya is concerned. He was going through emotional turmoil. He was seeking meaning and purpose. Why should I fight this war? By fighting this war and winning this war, what is likely to happen to me? He was surrounded by chaos and inner noise, and he needed a guidance and clarity, right? This is the background of, or the backdrop of the, you can say, the battlefield of Kurukshetra, when the battle between the Pandavas and Kauravas was supposed to take place. I tried to compare the same thing with today's corporate leaders' mind today. I have been personally worked in corporate world across the 5 countries. I have gone through all these things personally in my life. What happens in leaders' mind today? And leader does not necessarily mean you be a CXO or a CEO or a CFO. You can be a founder of a company. You can be a manager in a company. You can be a young management trainee in an organization. You go through multiple problems on day-to-day basis in an organization, in a corporate world typically. The leaders typically today, and we can see that you read the newspaper, any newspaper you open up, you see what happened to Indigo Airlines, or multiple examples. Today's leaders are torn between strategy and ethics. Strategy is important to achieve the business, but ethics is very important in today's world. We are all overloaded with information and data, and I call it as an infodemic, information pandemic. I call it is so much information, a leader is totally confused, and too much data, the analysis paralysis gets created. We are constantly under the performance pressure. We have to continuously perform every year, every quarter, every month. And listed companies have to declare their quarterly results, and they are so much under pressure that every quarter the profitability needs to be shown. Emotional entanglement with the results, constant performance pressure, fear of reputation. We are all born with fear of uncertainty, but the fear of failure is created by us as we grow in our life. And we don't want to fear, we don't want to fail. None of us want to fail. And the reputation is so important in today's world that, and unfortunately, the reputation is decided by the social media, by the newspaper, by the news channels, by the Facebooks of the world and WhatsApps of the world, which is very unfortunate. We are surrounded by so many opinions and expectations. Searching for direction and balance is a huge challenge to all of us. Now, just a comparison. I am not going to read the entire slide. I know this slide is a very busy slide, but basically, if you see the right-hand side in the blue color, the parallels between the corporate leader's mind and Arjuna's mind, moral dilemmas, decision paralysis, emotional balance, and clarity of purpose. The inner critic is telling you what is good judgment and what is bad judgment, but self-awareness is missing, or you need a self-awareness. You need to find the calm in this battlefield of corporate world. And today, the biggest problem is we have become so transactional in our life. We don't have time to ourselves. We talk the term me time, right? Nowadays, we see on the news, on the TV and newspaper, people saying that I need my me time, but technically, very few people have their me time. The leadership needs detachment from outcome and commitment towards action, which is very difficult in real life. Modern mentors like Krishna on the corporate battlefield, do we have those mentors? Who is going to tell us what's right and what's wrong? And how am I going to get out of this confusion in my life as far as the corporate battlefield is concerned? So mentorship, the Krishna connection, I call both Arjuna and modern leaders face the inner battle. It is inside your mind and body, and there's a difference between brain and mind. Brain is a physical organ in your body. Mind is the software of your body which thinks and which provides directions to you, actions and all those things, right? A mentor like Krishna provides a perspective and purpose. Very important. In today's world, we are missing the perspective and we are missing the purpose. And we talk a lot about purpose in coaching and mentoring. A true mentoring transforms emotions into awareness. Emotion is basically an energy in the motion. And when energy comes into the motion, it could be wrong, it could be negative energy, it could be positive energy. And most of the time, we catch the negative energy. And how do you convert that emotions or that energy into the awareness? It's very, very difficult. We talk about emotional intelligence and all those things. We need to lead from chaos to clarity. And today there is so much chaos happening in the world. And it is literally, I wrote an article a few months back on LinkedIn. I remember that how today's leaders need to think like a diplomats. The tariff saga, there's so many changes happening in the world. The leader's job has become so difficult to interpret how it is going to impact my own business or my own company, and how do I take the actions. The battlefield may have changed, but the human struggle remains same. What the struggle Arjuna was going through, we are all going through the similar struggle at present. So I am comparing a parallel or battlefield of Kurukshetra is a modern corporate life battlefield. Not only corporate life, in our personal life also, we have multiple problems which we are not able to resolve in a way we ideally would like to. Bhagavad Gita is not a spiritual text. It's one of the most profound treatises of mentorship, leadership, emotional intelligence, decision-making, and purpose. At its heart, the two people, Lord Krishna, the mentor, and Arjuna, the mentee, their moment of deepest confusion. Arjuna was going through the moment of deepest confusion, fear, moral conflict, and this story beautifully mirrors what happens today in our life, in the corporate world, and hence we need a mentor. I just wanted to give you a reference. There were two movies. We are all Bollywood, right? there were two movies released on the topic of Mahabharata, or you can say, and one was released in 1981, Kali Yuga, and another one was Rajniti in 2010. I just thought those who are filmy people, they may relate about the Mahabharata. So why this topic is important to you and why this topic is important to me as well, because I have been going through this topic initially as a mentee for multiple number of years, and in last, I would say 10 to 15 years as a mentor as well as mentee. I have 6 mentors in my life until today. I have been identifying mentors for me on a regular basis, and lucky to have 6 mentors. Unfortunately, one of them passed away 2 years back, so now really left with 5 of them. So why this topic is important to you and how many of you have the mentor? This is a question I would like you to answer in your chat box. How many of you have the mentor? If you can write in a chat box and someone tell me that. I personally think we have done a research within our community, the IMA members worldwide. We found out through our research that 76% of the people or the survey people who participated in the survey, they said that they want to have a mentor, but only 36% said that they have a mentor. So it is not easy. The statistics is very, very, I would say, bad. Very few people have the mentors, and having a mentorship is very, very important. And if you don't have a mentor, maybe this presentation, today's session will help you. Okay. So from now onwards, we'll talk more about mentorship, what it means, how it works, what are the roles, what are the duties, and we'll try to correlate it with Bhagavad Gita wherever possible, not in a fullest way, but as far as possible.
So we have about 10 people who have responded as yes, and 2 who are saying it's formal or informal. Yeah, so about 12 people. Roughly the same number corresponds with your research, Sunil.
Yeah, so
10
I always thought
38, yeah.
Yeah, so even my research, our research was done, I think 3 years back or 4 years back.
Yeah.
It still holds the same, right?
Yeah.
So mentoring basics, what is mentoring? All these difficult terms people use in their life. So I always start with what is mentoring not? And I must give credit to IMA. When I was a dean of IMA's Leadership Academy mentoring program, I personally was involved in creating this presentation, and we run a program within IMA called Value of Mentoring, which was under my leadership we did that time. So some of the slides I have picked up from there, the conceptually, because they were my contributions anyway, but I must give credit back to IMA for helping me to get these slides. So mentoring is not consulting, mentoring is not counseling, mentoring is not coaching. Okay, very important. Consulting, we all understand, right? Consulting focuses on a specific problem. You have a problem with the income tax department in a good way, and you don't have in-house expertise in income tax. What you do, you go to a consultant. Or you want to acquire a company, you want to do a due diligence, you don't have enough due diligence, what do? You go to a consultant. So consulting is always a temporary, specific problem solving, and it is a structured approach to achieve that specific purpose. So you appoint consultant not lifelong. For a particular specific reason, you appoint a consultant. Once the job is done, consultant moves away, you carry on with your own purpose. Consulting is the most common form of using knowledge and expertise which is not available with you. So you go to an outside agency, outside party, or outside firm. Counseling, on the other hand, which is a little bit more to do with the psychology. Counseling focuses on understanding and healing the emotional disturbances. Counseling presupposes that there exists some sort of issue, emotional issue with a person, and that's why we call it as a talking therapy. So a counselor, I'm personally a certified counselor. I have studied psychology also. I'm a certified counselor. I don't do counseling here right now. But what I'm saying is counseling presupposes there is some problem like stress, anxiety, depression, trauma. And in today's world, I call executive loneliness. And I have done a lot of work on executive loneliness. I talk on that topic about a lot of leaders, or I would say multiple leaders, go through a problem called executive loneliness, which falls under counseling category, but they are not aware that they are going through some sort of psychological problem. When I used to live in Singapore, I used to conduct the peer group for executive loneliness, CXO level people, and we used to have roughly 10 to 15 CEOs coming into our group once in a month, and they will disclose what type of personal problems they are going through. Personal means executive loneliness related problems through their organization or through their life, they will talk on. Now, one of the way of counseling is emotional expression. So this was a platform given to them to express. And I always make this statement that mental illness is an equal opportunity destroyer. What does that mean is, we always thought that I have no problem, someone else has got a problem. But always remember, the mental health issues can appear to anyone. You might be a blue-collar person in the organization. You might be a CEO, you might be a director, you might be CFO. A mental issue or mental health does not differentiate between a lower level person, a high level person, senior person, junior person. Anyone and everyone is going through that problem. But those who go through beyond the level, then we call them as having a psychological problem. So mentoring is not counseling. A mentor will not counsel you in a psychological point of view. Coaching is another term which is very closely associated with mentoring. And this is, I am also a certified coach from International Coaching Federation. In coaching, what is coaching? It is partnering with the client in a thought-provoking and creative process that inspires them to maximize their personal and professional potential. Personal and professional, both. And it's a guided self-exploration process. So coaching is a little bit, I would say, different than mentoring. A coach will never tell you what to do. A mentor may sometimes tell you what to do or how to walk the path. A coach will never tell you that, or not supposed to tell you that. The moment coach start telling you what to do, he or she is exceeding the coaching boundaries and getting into the mentoring arena. So that's the difference between coaching and mentoring. Now, in Bhagavad Gita principles, so just, I'm not going too much into this, but you know the famous shloka, karmanyavadhikaraste, you all know that, what does that mean and all those things. But focus on action, not on outcome. So you have a right to perform your prescribed duty, but you are not entitled to the fruits of action. Or you should not work assuming that you will get the fruits of action. And I intentionally brought in here that doing karma is in your hands only. Results are not in your hand. And a lot of people who I mentor and coach, they come and tell me that, sir, I have done a fantastic job, but my company has not given me good increment. I have not been promoted for last 3 years. I want to change my job now. I'm unhappy with the company. So people go through this problem day in, day out, and most of you attending this program would have gone through this type of problem, that I have done a fantastic job. I have completed this project, but I have not been promoted and someone else has been promoted. So a mentor's role is to ask you to focus on action and not on the result, right? This is a typically, I thought I will bring it from Bhagavad Gita, and one more shloka which talks about clarity before taking the action. And this is also from a corporate point of view, it's very, very important that when there is a confusion, you do not know what's going to happen. And we have seen many companies' projects fail because they have no clarity. Why are they doing? Many acquisitions and mergers and acquisitions fail. The synergies which they have defined at the time of mergers and acquisition may not exist after you do the merger and acquisition. So clarity is very, very important. And in Bhagavad Gita also, Lord Krishna brings to the attention of Arjuna that clarity of purpose and clarity of action is very, very important. And this is the Vishwarupa of Lord Krishna. When Arjuna was not trusting his own mentor, and Krishna needed to show his Vishwarupa to Arjuna, his disciple, so that there is a trust and he understands that with whom he is dealing and who is the person he is working with. So what is mentoring? We have seen what is not mentoring. Now let us see what is mentoring. So mentoring is a relationship between two people where the individual with a more experience, and please remember, I am talking more experience. I am not talking about the age here. Age is not coming anywhere here. That's the most important aspect here. Two people where the individual with more experience, knowledge, and connections is able to pass along what they have learned, right? I am passing on my experience, and I always talk about the implicit knowledge and explicit knowledge. Right? Explicit knowledge is your education, your degree, your MBA, your BE. Implicit knowledge is my experience. I lived in Singapore, lived in Middle East. Now that experience, I cannot put it in a manual, right? When I share that experience with someone, that's my implicit knowledge sharing. And people, as a mentor, I can help a person to tell how does it works in Middle East, how to do business there and all. Mentoring can be formal as well as informal. And many people get confused between formal mentoring and informal mentoring. We'll see that a little bit more detail in next few slides. Mentoring tends tends to be performance and development driven and career related. So when the term mentoring came, it came from, of course, the Western world. It is more focused on performance, how to improve your performance, how to increase your development as a leadership development, personality development, whatever, and how to get help in your career progression. Whereas in our philosophy, the Krishna's mentoring to Arjuna was not only restricted to career and all those things. Of course, there was a career aspect in that. By winning the war, he would have become the king and all those things. There was a career aspect to that also. Now, informal mentoring versus formal mentoring, many people get confused and they say, he's my mentor. But when you ask that person, he said, no, he's not my mentee. Right? It happens. So let's talk about informal mentoring. Informal mentoring is unintended, unplanned. There is no structure to that. No accountability either of mentor or of the mentee. It may happen by chance. Let us suppose I am at the airport and Indigo Airlines, all flights cancel, and I was sitting, let's say I'm sitting next to Marshall Goldsmith, assume that. And I go to Marshall Goldsmith and, hey, Marshall, we are both stuck in the airport now. Can you give me some experience sharing, knowledge and all those things? And because he was sitting and doing nothing, he gives me some idea. Hey, Sunil, you should do like this. You should do like this. That's informal mentoring. That's not formal mentoring. We assume that I met someone, like I met Dr. Marshall 6 months back and I had a one-on-one meeting with him. Of course, it was a structured discussion, but it was a one-time meeting. So it was a little bit more informal, right? Informal mentoring is short-term. Benefits are not known. When, for example, Marshall Goldsmith gives me some tips, later on, Marshall Goldsmith is not aware whether Sunil is following those tips. By following those tips, whether Sunil is benefiting or not, he is not aware. And even if I apply those tips in my life and let's say I am not successful, I do not go to Marshall Goldsmith and tell him, hey, you told me that day it's not working, because it was an informal relationship. A typical informal mentoring discussion happens and we call it a water cooler conversation. Coffee meetings, you met someone, you go to the third wave coffee, or you go to the Starbucks and you see a friend there, or you old professor there, you go and sit with him on the golf course, something like that. So I'm not saying informal mentoring is not good. I'm saying informal mentoring does not have a structure. So if you want a proper mentoring to be done, it needs to be a formal mentoring. And what happens in formal mentoring? It's well planned, it's structured, accountability of both the parties, the mentor and mentee, is predefined. By whom? Both those two people only will define accountability. There's no third party involved here. Formal mentoring can be short-term as well as long-term. And at the beginning of the session, Ashish Kumar said that many companies have a mentoring program and all those things. Depends on when the new person joins, they give a mentoring. When I joined McDonald's as a CFO, they gave me a board buddy, right? And they said, this guy will handhold you for first 6 months. So that was like a 6 months mentoring program given to me, something like that. But I always believe that once a mentor, always a mentor. Once you become mentor and mentee relationship, try to exploit in a good way. Keep that relationship lifelong. Once a mentor, always a mentor. Never cut mentorship relationship with a mentor. Oh, mera kaam ho gaya abhi, I don't need this guy. Never happens like that. Formal mentoring can be time bound. You can decide 1 month, 1 year, 6 months, 12 months, depending on how is your requirement and what is your requirement. In today's world, reverse mentoring is also a reality. Jack Welch, the GE, General Electric, he first time realized that why the knowledge is going from top down to bottom. Why only people in the senior management passing on the knowledge and expertise to the people in the junior management? Why not the reverse way it's happening? So he brought in the concept called mutual mentoring or reverse mentoring in General Electric. And what is reverse mentoring? Basically, a senior employee seeks a business insights from a less experienced, often an younger employee. Imagine I do not know how to operate my Instagram, and I really do not know how to operate my Instagram. I don't operate it. So if I need to get knowledge on operating Instagram, I can go to a Gen Z, right? Maybe someone in this group, and hey, can you mentor me how to use the Instagram? Now that is reverse mentoring. And it's very common in today's technology-driven world. The Gen Z, the Gen Alpha, the young generation is having much more knowledge on technological front or on certain fronts than the senior most employees. You might be MBA or whatever, but their knowledge is totally different. And so why not do the reverse mentoring? Objective is to enable senior managers, leaders also to understand what's happening. Top-down learning is always not beneficial. So there are some of the examples of this thing. Now, this is one of the most important slide, and this was purely my creation. I wanted to create some sort of framework or some sort of, you can say, graphical representation, if you want to say that. So in this, there's x-axis and y-axis. So on the x-axis, you have past problems and your future solutions, right? Here is the past problems, is the future solutions, and here is ask versus advise. So what I have done, I have tried to fit in four aspects, the four interventions: counseling, coaching, consulting, and mentoring, into these four boxes or four areas. So as far as counseling is concerned, counseling always pertains to the past problem. So that's why it is sitting in this corner. And a counselor always asks the question, right? In a similar fashion, now if you see the mentoring, it is coming sitting here. In a mentoring is always future oriented. What will happen in future? What you should do in future? How should you improve? How should you develop? How should you work in future? And a mentor always advises. So mentoring is sitting in this corner or this box, you can say, with the green star. I'm saying the mentoring is future oriented and advice driven. A mentor is more like an advisor rather than a questionnaire. I always give an example. A mentor does not interrogate you like in police station a police inspector does, right? That's not the way. The way type of questions a mentor asks are totally different than a police inspector or a lawyer in the courtroom will ask. Here, the intention is to help the development of the mentee. And that's why this slide encompasses or at a glance shows you where coaching fits in. In coaching also, we ask a lot of questions. That's why it is on this side. Coaching is also future solution oriented. That's why it is sitting on the right-hand side also. So I hope you're clear with this slide. And another concept which I very oftenly use in the mentoring, and many mentors would have been using this, there is always a difference between feedback and feed forward. This is a concept created by Marshall Goldsmith. Marshall Goldsmith is one of the most respected coaches in the world. I am personally qualified and certified on Marshall Goldsmith coaching. Marshall Goldsmith has given a foreword to my book in English. By the way, if you Ashish referred at the beginning, my book called Deshmukh. The foreword given to my book is by Marshall Goldsmith for Deshmukh. Now, feedback, we all know, we all work in a corporate world. You have that performance review at the end of the year. 31st March is year end. Then you have a performance review with your boss and KPIs and discussion and all those things happens, right? And most of the people I have seen in my life, they hate performance review. 90% of the people I have seen in my life, I work as a CFO, CEO. Now I deal with left and right with HR and CHROs, being a coach and mentor. Most of the people hate the feedback performance review process. Why? Because it is always post-mortem. What happened 1 year back, you're discussing with me now, hey, you should have done that time, this thing, you didn't do it properly. That's why company have to lose that project. We didn't get this customer. You are telling after 1 year. Can that person go back and reverse it now? Impossible. And that's why people hate. And most of the time in corporate world, unfortunately, in a performance review, negative things are discussed more than the positive things. That's also one of the reasons people hate the feedback sessions, right? Whereas feed forward is future oriented. You tell them in advance, that what the person needs to do. Focus on future development, focus on helping the goals. So instead of doing a performance feedback review after the end of the year, feed forward review you can do every quarterly basis. So instead of doing one review at the end of the year, you do 4 reviews every quarter. Tell them in advance, hey, these numbers are not looking good. We need to get this project. You have to work like this. So you are helping them to achieve the objective or the target rather than telling them you've done a mistake in past and hence I'm not giving you bonus or I'm not giving you whatever increment or promotion and all those things. So very important concept, and you can all apply this. And this is not a rocket science, right? You have to, of course, change your way of working with your employees. You have to create more trust with your employees, no doubt about that. But this will definitely help you to get better work done by from your employees. So feedback versus feed forward. Parties in a mentoring, very simple. In a formal mentoring or informal mentoring, you will typically have a mentor and mentee, two people. When you have company-sponsored, organization-sponsored mentoring program, there might be three parties where you have, let's say, company's HR department will come into the picture. They will identify a mentor within the organization or outside the organization, or they will, and there will be a mentee. So there could be three people involved in a sponsored mentoring program. You can have one-to-one mentoring, one person to one person, but you can also have one-to-many mentoring. Many times what happens now, today's the word we also call team coaching. I'm also a certified team coach. Instead of coaching one person, you can coach multiple people having a similar issues, a similar problem. Let's say you have appointed a trainee batch of, let's say, 10 people, engineers or data scientists in your organization. They're all freshers, similar problems. So instead of having one-to-one, you can have one-to-many. And then based on that, you can identify with whom you need to do a one-to-one session, with whom you need to do one-to-many sessions. Some of the myths about mentoring, people think that you have to find the one perfect mentor. I always say that you can never say that I have got one perfect mentor, and not necessarily one, you can have multiple mentors. At each stage of your life, you may need a different type of mentor. When you are passing out from your, let's say, school to the college or engineering, you need a mentor who will guide you on career progression, finding the job, and all those things. When you become a manager and you are now at the middle level manager and you want to get into the senior management, you may need a different type of mentor. When you are having you want to become a CEO of an organization, you may need a different type of mentor. So there is no harm in having multiple mentors. I personally, I said at the beginning, I had 6 mentors, and I am still working, knowing with them, attending them, meeting them as and when I have my fixed plan with them. So you can have multiple mentors, and it's not, but always finding a mentor is a process. And I always make this comment that finding a mentor is not a speed dating. Finding a right mentor takes time, and you have to have that patience to find the right mentor for you. And we will see in next few slides what's the process of identifying the right mentor, how to approach and all. Another myth about mentoring is a formal long-term relationship. Not necessary. You may have at some point of time a specific problem. You can have a short-term mentoring also. But I always advise and prescribe once a mentor, always a mentor. Never leave that relationship created with a mentor. And third myth about mentoring is for junior people. And we have seen that it is not. Mentoring is applicable for every single person. Reverse mentoring is a reality where a junior person can coach or can mentor the senior most person. Mentoring is something more experienced people do out of the goodness of their heart. It's not necessary. But of course, there are some people who do as a giving back to the society and all those things. But it's not necessary that someone is doing only because he or she wants to do. Now, formalization of mentoring has happened in the world. There are mentoring platforms. Companies follow the mentoring program. There are third-party mentoring programs. So it has become a, if I may use the word, industry in itself. Right? Now, let us see the mentoring cycle. I call it a cycle. And so typically, when a mentee approaches the mentor for the first time, he is likely to be confused. Right? No clarity. Don't know what he wants to do, what she wants to do. It might be relating to promotion. It might be relating to something else. So they are unclear. There is no clarity. They are stuck somewhere. They feel that nothing is happening with them. And I can give an example once I finish all these 5 boxes, and then I'll give you my real example, how I mentored someone. Then what happens? A mentor needs to have a dialogue with the mentee. And this is very important. In coaching, we call a chemistry session or whatever you want to call that. A mentor needs to listen to the mentee. Now, we all have a problem with the listening skills. In today's world, we do not listen. And this is a fact. I can prove it to many people. I have proven it to many people that we just don't listen. So how do we ensure, or how do we create a listening skills? So first, a mentor also needs to understand that a mentor needs to, he or she needs to listen the real issues, listen the real problem from the mentee. So have a dialogue, ask the right questions. Then based on that, a mentor will ask some guided questions, some specific question, which will make mentee to think over. Reflection. Think, why? What is this purpose of this question? And why this mentor is asking this question? And not necessarily every question you need to answer on the spot. You may take time. Sometimes you may not find the answer on the spot. So take your time. It's very, very important. And I can quote you one of the, in my book, I have also written about that. In one of the instances, when I was working with a multinational bank as a clerk at the age of 2021, my manager asked me a question. So I carried sweets, pedas. I stood first in the university and I was in the second years of the university, and I went to my manager and gave him the pedas, saying that, sir, I got first in the university. These are the sweets I am giving to you. He asked me a question that changed my life. He asked me a question: if you stood first in the university, what the hell you are doing in the bank? He didn't use the word hell. He said, what are you doing in the bank? I didn't answer him that question, but I thought over that question. And I resigned from the bank within 1 week. Changed my complete lifestyle, complete life cycle, you can say. Everything got changed in my life. Of course, there was hard work, there was patience required. But what I'm saying, when someone asks you a question, you need to think on that, reflect upon that, and then give the answer, and we take the action. So once the realization comes to the mentee based on the answer to the question, that aha moment comes in. Oh my God, now I know why he asked that question. So I was mentoring a girl who was a chief financial officer with one of the multinational companies. Obviously, I can't name the company. So she came to me and she was stuck for 5 years, not getting promoted for 5 years. Fantastic, very good in work, very well qualified. Everything was tick mark, right? Every box was tick positive, but not getting promoted. So when she came to me for mentoring, and I told her, after asking her a lot of questions, and she realized that her problem was she was a perfectionist. And she was expecting everyone around her to be like her. And that's where she was having a problem, because she was not a team player. And when I told her, your problem is you are perfectionist, and you want everyone else around you to be like that, you can't work like that. World is not like that. And she literally shouted, and I was recording the session. She literally shouted. That was the aha moment. So you as a mentee also need to have that aha moment. When you think, when you reflect upon, you will definitely come to know about your aha moment. You may not shout all the time, but you will have that nice smile on your face. Oh, now I know the problem. And then you have to obviously take the action. Mentee takes the confident steps based on the action which you have realized through the mentoring discussion. Now, a mentor in your life will play multiple roles. Okay. Now, I'm not going to read. I know this is a busy slide, but mentor plays a role as a leadership coach. And I always make this comment that when you mentor or coach someone, you need to counsel the whole person. What happens? We have become so transactional in our life. We only look at what is the problem coming to me and what is he discussing with me. But one need to understand what's the background. What are the issues? Is there an issue in the family? What is the going through the mind of this person currently? What is external environmental issues happening in his family, in his job, in his company, and all those things. So counsel the whole person. And that's very, very important. As a mentor needs to understand the holistic development of that person from a fullest point of view. Unless you do that, a mentor is not going to help the mentee to find the right solution. As a career counselor, many times people go to a mentor, or I would say most of the time people go to a mentor when they have a problem in the job. They want to find a new job, then they go. I get maximum request for career transition coaching and mentoring, right? Because people get stuck so quickly and they want to get out of that problem so quickly. They don't have time, right? Everything is urgent. I want it now, my new job. But one of the I personally do is I open my own network, my connections, my people. I refer the mentee to multiple connections within my network and tell them, hey, this guy is my mentee. I'm trying to help him. Please see if you can help him or not. Right? Now, this is one of the aspects a mentor needs to know, that when a mentee comes to you, he or she is not only coming to ask you problem, but they are also coming to you to get a help, a real actionable help, which could be by opening your network or giving them some books for reading, giving them some advice on what to do, what not to do, maybe do an MBA program, study something, all those things. A mentor also acts as a role model, which is very, very important. We used to have a role model, but typically I see when you ask in today's generation, who is your role model, people talk, oh, Virat Kohli or this guy or that guy. But I always say that they are not real role models. You like them as a hero. The hero journey is different and role model. Role model is a person who you would like to follow. You would like to become like that. So mentor's role is to become a role model for that person. It's very, very important. People forget that I have Sachin Tendulkar as my role model. Can you play like Sachin Tendulkar even if you play cricket for 20 years? It's not possible. So try to find out someone who you can copy. I'm using the word very loosely, copy, or who you can follow. I always believe that your mentor could be a role model. Not necessarily always, but could be a role model. So behavior of the mentor, the mannerism of the mentor, the knowledge, the public speaking, multiple things you can follow from the mentor. In addition to this, some of the few areas which I thought a mentor can play a role, a master of the craft, like I gave an example of Sachin Tendulkar. If you want to be a best sports person, obviously you should go to a master of the craft, right? You want to be a great footballer, find out the best footballer in the world to be your coach or to be your mentor. Champion of your cause. For example, let's say Ashish Kumar is championing the cause of mindfulness, right? And when I go and meet some people and we start discussing about mindful living or mindfulness and all those things, I tell them, hey, I have a friend by name Ashish Kumar. He's working on something called mindfulness, mindful living, and all those things. Why don't you go and contact him? This is called sponsorship. But he's not paying for me. Very important. But this is a champion. So I am champion of his cause, sometime with his knowledge, sometime without his knowledge also. So a mentor also has to play that type of role. We'll see the co-pilot in the next one, next slide. As an anchor, many times a mentor acts as your confidant. You can discuss certain very confidential things with your mentor, which you otherwise you will not discuss with someone else, right? So that is possible. A mutual mentor, we have already seen, which is basically the reverse mentoring. Now, the co-pilot, which is where our Arjuna and Lord Krishna analogy comes into picture. And you know, Lord Krishna was the charioteer of the Arjuna. And as a co-pilot, what was his job? To guide, to stabilize the mind of Arjuna, give him clarity, give him purpose, and of course, navigate. Navigation is also very important. They were not sitting at one place all the time and standing. He has to still fight the war. So when fighting the war, he has to navigate. And during navigation also, they have to talk to each other. So a role of a co-pilot is like a role of a Lord Krishna talking to Arjuna. And this is very, very important. We need to find out who is my co-pilot in my life, with whom I can go and talk and discuss these type of things, and he or she will guide me onto that. So this is one of the most important slide. When you want to create a mentorship for yourself, right? How do you start the process? What is involved in that? How do you go for that? So if you want to have a mentor, and this is a systematic way of doing the things, not an informal mentoring. This I'm talking about the formal mentoring. Define the goals and specify why you need mentoring. You need to be very clear on that. So clarity is very important. It's not that all the time you may need a mentoring. You should be very clear why I need mentoring, what is my purpose of my mentoring, and what is my goal of mentor. Why I need mentoring. You should be very clear. After that, once you have clarity on that, you write down the job description of your ideal mentor. And this is the step a lot of people laugh at me. Said, why have you created something like that? Because it's very important. A mentor needed by me, a mentor needed by Ganesh, a mentor needed by Ashish Kumar, Charudatta Kulkarni. They need different mentors at different point of time, right? For example, Ashish Kumar is running a mindfulness, mindful living type of organization. His requirement of mentor may be someone who understands that type of business, right? So you need to write down the job description of your mentor, and it will vary for all of us. It is not one solution fits for all. Everyone's requirement is different. So you have to tailor make your job description of your mentor. Once you have some job description of your mentor, which is written down, not in your mind, put it on a piece of paper, search the right mentor. Searching the right mentor, and I made the comment, it's not a speed dating and all those things. Find out where can you get that type of mentor. Luckily, in today's world, you have social media. You have LinkedIn, you have whatever, Instagram, whatever you want to have, or multiple WhatsApp groups and this and that. Find a mentor who more or less matches your job description of your mentor. And then, of course, make the ask. Make the ask means go and ask him or her that I want to meet you. I want to talk to you, or I want to have first meeting with you. Just by sending a LinkedIn message, can you be my mentor? You are not going to get a mentor. A lot of people send me a LinkedIn request, sir, I want you to be my mentor. I ask them, do you know why you need a mentor? They don't have answer for that. They say, no, sir, that day you gave a session on mentoring. I thought you can be a good mentor for me. But do you know why you need a mentor? They don't have answer for that. So clarity, purpose is not there. What I do is I still tell them, give me a call in 10 or 15 minutes. I give a mobile number. Explain me why you need a mentor. If you are able to convince me, then we will talk. So clarity is very, very important. Then start simply. Once you meet someone for the first time, you need to get that realization. Is this the mentor I was looking for or not? Also, you have to ask that mentor, does he or she has got time commitment to do your mentoring? People are busy when they go at a leadership level and all those things. Then once, for example, everything becomes comfortable, he or she is ready, you are ready, then you create a structured accountability statement or expectations, then what you want mentor to do, what you as a mentee will do, all those things you have to do. Then continue to do a follow-up. Of course, say thank you. Many people, what they do the first mentoring session and they disappear. But they do not realize that it was a commitment given by a mentor and mentee for a 6 months or 1 year, and you suddenly disappear, which also shows that you are not serious as a mentee. So it's very, very important. And one of the things is very, very important in mentor-mentee relationship is the trust. You need to trust the mentor which you have chosen. You have chosen the mentor. Most of the time, you choose the mentor. Of course, in my case, it happened reverse way. My mentor chose me many times. But the trust element is very, very important. So this slide is the one of the important slide as far as mentoring is concerned, or the creating mentorship is concerned. Now, of course, this question is based on the previous slide. What do you think was the most difficult aspect of that mentoring process? We'll skip that because we'll have Q&A session later on separately, so it's okay. So in a mentor-mentee framework, what is the mentor's role? Provide clarity through listening, guidance, and motivation. And when I talk listening, there are 4 levels of listening. I don't know how many of you know the 4 levels of listening. In coaching, we teach listening also. There is passive listening, there is selective listening, there is attentive listening, and there is a empathetic or generative listening. So when you are a mentor, you must follow at least the level of 3 and 4, which is attentive listening or the empathetic or generative listening. Many times in today's world, we listen, but we don't hear. Or many times we just say yes, 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 but we are not listening. I always give this example. Of course, not a very good example, but when your wife is asking that we have to go for shopping, you are listening, but you are not listening, right? Most of the time. Or you want to go for whatever. So it happens. And many times what happens, people, selective listening means they listen what they want to listen. And before the next person stops talking, they start giving their action or whatever they want to say. So mentor's very important role is listening skills, giving clarity. And unless you listen, how do you know what's the problem? And motivating. See, if a mentor is not able to motivate or inspire the mentee, then there is a problem. Mentee's role, bring openness, honesty, trust, and readiness to grow. Openness, you should be very transparent with you should not like every time you are telling new information to him and not sharing the full information at the beginning. You must be honest, right? You must be honest and trust. And I give that classic example when on the Kurukshetra war, when the war was supposed to happen, both Duryodhan and Arjuna went to Lord Krishna, right? And Duryodhana asked for the army of Sri Krishna, and whereas Arjuna asked for Sri Krishna as a charioteer and all those things. So trust, honesty is very, very important. Arjuna had more trust on Krishna as an individual, as a leader, rather than his army, right? And outcome, of course, the outcome is confusion transforms into confidence. It is a role of a mentor to ensure that the mentee's confusion transforms into confidence, purpose, and meaningful action. Action is very important. If you are not taking action, clarity is there, but there is no action, then there is no use. So I think this is where we'll stop. We have come to the Q&A level. In case you want to connect me, this is my LinkedIn. You can scan. You can go to my website. And of course, there are multiple ways you can reach out to me. But I will stop here. I will stop sharing the screen now. I think I have perfectly completed in 1 hour, Ashish. And yeah, we are open for Q&A.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Sunil, for that wonderful presentation. And we will open up for Q&A in just a minute from now. Please fill out the feedback. It will take 30 seconds for you, less than 30 seconds to fill out the feedback form. Please type FD feedback done once you have filled out the form, and then we will open up. What an amazing session, Sunil, and how beautifully you finished on time. Amazing, really. Yes, Ganeshi, just allow us a minute. We will open up. Please fill out the feedback form in the meantime. Thank you, Urmila. Thank you, Shripad. Please type FD feedback done, and we will open up the session. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Doctor. Thank you, everyone. Yes, we will open up the session for the questions now. Just before I invite you, Ganesh, there was a question in the chat uh, about image consultant. Uh, who asked that question? Can you raise your hand and go for that? And there was another one, Sunil, is your book going to be displayed in the Pune Book Festival through your distributors?
That's a good question, and thank you very much for that. I need to check with my publisher for that Pune Book Festival. Yeah, thanks for that.
Thank you. Yes, Ganesh, please.
Sunil, this was really mind-boggling, I would say. I cherished the entire session. I have one question which I have noted down. In the reverse mentoring, you had one last point where you said top-down learning is not always appropriate. Could you please explain that?
Yeah, and thanks for asking that. See, I always talk about ego, right? And human beings have three types of ego: a child ego, adult ego, and super ego. What happens is, because we have our culture, our environment, I'm particularly talking about the Indian environment now, I'm not going globally, we tend to accept what comes from top down as is without challenging that. And I personally feel that most of the time, in past, when I came into the industry, most of the leaders were coming from an egoistic point of view that, hey, I'm telling you to do it, you just do it. So there was no, I would say, communication, or you are not allowed to ask the question back to them. And that has created a lot of problems in General Electric, and it has created multiple problems. I mean, I have worked in multiple industries globally. Whenever you have a boss who is autocratic, or who is, whatever term you want to use nowadays, is not listening to the people, the company is at loss in a sense, whatever. And that's where I thought that it needed that you need to have a reverse mentoring also. You need to give a freedom of expression. And I remember a very big, very nice, humorous joke about freedom of speech. And I don't know how many of you know that Idi Amin was the dictator in Uganda before the current dictator.
Right.
And Idi Amin was very famous for, all this cruelty and all those things. So once he was attending a press conference, and the reporters came in and they told Idi Amin, Mr. Idi Amin, we have freedom of speech and we have freedom to ask you the question. And you have to guarantee us freedom of speech. And Idi Amin responded to those people saying that, I guarantee you freedom of speech, but I can't guarantee you freedom after speech. That's what happens in the corporate world. You cannot go and ask. Nowadays, it's different story.
Right.
So I think that was the reason, and I hope I answered your question in a different way.
Good. Yeah.
Thanks.
Nice. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you, Ganesh. Vijay, you may ask a question now. Vijay, are you there? Uh,
I think he's on mute.
Vijay, can you unmute yourself?
So Ashish, in the meantime, what we'll
Yes.
do, I have seen one question into the chat box saying, can you describe the 4 stages of listening before we go to
Correct.
Urmila and Pochampreddy?
Yes.
So 4 stages of listening are, first stage is called passive listening. Okay. And where I said where you are not really listening, it's called passive listening, where you hear the words, but your mind is somewhere else, right? And most of the time, you respond without listening. You just say what you want to say. You don't care what that person is saying. So that's called passive listening. Then you have selective listening, and many of us have this problem. We listen what you want to listen, and then forget everything else. And a lot of leaders, unfortunately, when I coach the leaders, most of the leaders have a selective listening problem. They will never listen completely to what the employee is saying, what the manager is saying, or what the CFO is saying. Not fully attentive. He's listening, but he's looking at his mobile phone, right? Selective listening. The moment he says the numbers are down, he stops the mobile phone and says, why the number is down? So that's selective listening. Then you have attentive listening, which is where you are engaged and you're curious to understand. Engagement and curiosity is very, very important in the life. And you are fully present. You are rephrasing the question. You are summarizing what the person is talking. You are asking the right question, and you are understanding that person's message completely. So that is called attentive listening. And the fourth one, which is very, very important, a little bit philosophical, is called empathetic or generative listening, where you connect with the person holistically, right? The whole person you connect. You look at the body language, look at the emotion on the face, whether that person is trying to give a subtle message, but which is not telling you there. And from that, you create a lot of insights to talk with the person. And you connect with the person at 100% level. That's basically the empathetic or generative listening. So I hope I have answered this. I'm forgetting the name of the author who has created the 4 levels of listening. He's a professor in MIT. You can just do the Google search. Sorry, I'm forgetting the name right now, but I can put it later on. Yeah. So yeah, we'll go to next question, Ashish.
Yeah, Sivanaresh, please go on.
Thank you so much. My sincere apologies for not able to come on video. There is some technical problem on my side.
Sure.
Sunil, as always, great presentation. Thank you so much for enlightening us. My question is a little controversial, but don't treat this as my reflection of my mind, but just trying to be a little devil's advocate. We celebrate Krishna's and Arjuna's event as being of a righteous on the Mahabharata. Now, when I look at this particular context from the context of Kauravas versus Pandavas, both of them will have their own mentors. Now, isn't it the mentorship is also a reflection of what they believe as right than really to say that, only one side is right, only one guidance is right, others are wrong. In other words, where I'm going with this one, possibly, Duryodhana also has a fantastic mentors, which reflects to their priorities and their objectives, what they want to achieve. And likewise, Pandavas also have their own mentors and their way of thinking what is right. Now, then the question comes back is what does it mean by right and who is right? And in this context, does mentors play any role in terms of saying what is right, what is not right, and then to take the sides?
So thanks for asking. It's a difficult question. I'll try to answer. Intent is very important. Perspective is very important. Trust is very important. And that's why I've given the example when Duryodhana and Arjuna both had an opportunity to choose for Krishna as their mentor, right? The intent of Duryodhana was different. The intent of Duryodhana was, I'm not saying wicked or evil. Of course, from his personal point of view, it was good for him. But he chose Krishna as an army.
Strength, yeah.
Right? Which was, he think, and I always talk about this. Sometime I think that, of course, we are not experts in Bhagavad Gita. Maybe Arjuna was aware who is Krishna. In that sense, not as a relative. I'm saying in a larger scheme of things, right? Duryodhana may not be aware. I would have said the Duryodhana's mentors, maybe let's say Shakuni. I'm assuming Shakuni was his mentor or whosoever it is. They should have advised him that when you go to Krishna, ask for Krishna and not for his army. So it depends. And okay, let's Devil said, okay, let's now see from a Shakuni's point of view. Shakuni as a mentor to Duryodhana was helping his mentee to do what mentee wanted, or win the war, or win the whatever gambling game. Now, Shakuni should have told him or mentored him what is right and what is wrong. Hey, I am helping you to do what you want to do, but if you do this thing, this is righteous. If you do this thing, this is not seen as a moral. I think that's where the difference was, but it happens, and I'm not saying that every mentor is 100% correct all the time. All the time. A mentor is a human being, can make a mistake. Also needs to know, or a mentee also needs to have that ability to trust the mentor, identify the right mentor, and work with the mentor. It's very, very important.
Absolutely.
I hope I have answered your question.
No, of course, Sunil. There is nothing like right or wrong, but actually it's perspective,
exactly.
Right? So, yeah.
And if you want to know the end of the Mahabharata, and when all Pandavas died and Kauravas died, Kauravas went to Swarga and Pandavas went to Narka. Now if you want to reconnect that dot, let's see what happens. It's very difficult.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Sunil. Yes, Urmila, please.
So thank you for the opportunity, and Sunil, great presentation as always. I think you've chosen a topic which is very close to all of us, Krishna and Arjuna, and the stories that we hear all throughout since the time we are here in this world. While you connect that to the corporate world, one thing that strikes out to me is that Arjuna had a faith in Krishna, which was unwavering faith, unwavering trust. We call it bhakti in our language, right? Now, when I see the corporate world, I don't see that kind of a possibility in the half an hour conversation, 1 hour conversation when you choose a mentor or a guide or a coach. My question comes from a place of how do you really make out whether you're in that safe hands, in that credible source where you're really trusting and building a lifelong relationship?
Yeah, it's a difficult one. How to trust someone, be it your mentor, be it your spouse, be it your life partner, be it your boss. It's difficult. I always use this analogy, a Dutch proverb which says that trust comes on the foot and lives on the horseback, right? So it's very easy to break the trust, but it takes long time to create the trust, right? Same applies here. And intentionally, I have not gone into the philosophical side of the Bhagavad Gita and all, and you choose that Bhakti Marg and all those things. I don't want to get into that because many people may not know that, right? What we are talking or what I'm talking. But what I will mention here, there's a difference between a mentor and mentee and the Guru Shishya Parampara which we have, right? Now, a guru and a mentor, nowadays we sort of treat them parallel, but it is not. And unfortunately, but there is no parallel word for guru in English, and we very easily say that a guru is mentor and mentor is guru. A guru knows your fate. A guru knows your future in advance. And that's the difference. A mentor will never know your future or fate in advance. He or she will work with you and create your future, your career, your progression with you by realizing your limitations, your biases, your blind spot, whatever you want to call. Whereas a guru knows in advance when a shishya goes to him, what's the future of the shishya? But he will never tell the shishya what's going to happen to him. He will create a path, enlighten the path, and that's the difference. And I think that was also the difference between Arjuna and Duryodhana and Krishna.
Yeah. Thanks for that explanation. But then is it right to say that when you go to a mentor or coach, probably you're not talking about lifelong or every aspect of your own journey, but just a particular topic that you choose to get guidance for? Or
rather, I would say otherwise. If you want to create a trust, you should be very open, transparent, communicate whatever is possible, holistic approach. When I went to my mentor, first I started right from who am I, what was my family background, lower middle class, this, that. I want the mentor to make sense from where this person is coming. Don't restrict only to what are you going to lose. I make a comment, I release my book, and many of you have read my book or will read book. Ashish has read my book already. Every single thing in my life is written in my book except my bank balance. What is going to happen? So same way I say that with your mentor, even you have to tell your bank balance also. I would say there is no harm in opening up fully with your mentor. Open up everything. Tell your personal problems, tell your family problems, because for that first you have to create that trust with the mentor. Then only you can talk all these things. Same way, it's not a one-way traffic. A mentor also needs to tell you all these things. Even though it has no relevance in your mentor-mentee discussion, but if you are telling, let's say 70%, just example, on a scale of 1 to 10, you are told 8 problems or 8 areas to your mentor, he or she needs to tell you at least 6 or 7, not 9 or 10. Then only it works. It's a mutual, it's a reciprocal arrangement. Right?
Thank you. Thank you for the clarity and transparency.
Thank you, Urmila, for your questions. Over to you, Durgesh. And we will take last question from Dr. Abhishek, and after that, we'll bring the session to a close.
Durgesh, you are on mute.
Durgesh, you're on mute.
We can't hear you, Durgesh.
While you sort this out, maybe I'll ask Dr. Abhishek to go ahead with this question.
Yeah, I'm done. Sorry.
Okay.
So Sunil, it was a value-adding 1 hour listening to you and relating to what you have been speaking over this 1 hour. Very relatable. I just have a simple question. Nowadays, you also have image consultants, and by the way of their nomenclature, they are consultants, or they can be more than that. What's your view on?
So I will not talk about image consultants. What is important is that in today's world, unfortunately, if you want to grow in your corporate world, in your personal life, you need to have a visibility. And there's a difference between visibility and image creation and all those things. But I tell a lot of young professionals, I teach, I preach literally that without visibility in today's world, you are not going to grow. And for that visibility, you also need to do a little bit of personal branding. And that's where your image consultants come into picture.
Yeah.
I would say, do not do it. Do not overdo it. But do not underdo it also. I coach people. A lot of managers come to me and say that, sir, I have been doing fantastic job than this person in my department, but he always gets promotion or he always gets this thing I never get. I said, is he good? Is that person very highly visible in your organization? 90% say yes. So visibility is important. And visibility does not necessarily mean creating a nice profile and LinkedIn and this. It also means thought leadership, intellectualness, opening up, speaking up at the right time, asking the right questions at the right time. Many people don't speak up. They just keep quiet. And congratulations to all of you who have asked the question here. Of course, we have limited time, otherwise it would have extended. But image is a perception. And those who understand marketing, we call top of mind, right? When a boss is sitting and doing your performance review, I'm not talking the feedback 360-degree review at the end of the year, he's top of mind. There are 4 people in his department. Who comes first in his mind? That's called top of mind. And same lies to your advertising and branding and all those things. That person is likely to get noticed faster than a good performer, which is unfortunate. I'm not saying it's right or wrong. It is definitely not right. A person who does a great job, excellent worker, performance, he should get promoted. But in today's world, it doesn't happen like that. So image building is important. Visibility is important. And creating personal branding is also important. And good to see you after a long time, Durgesh.
Thank you.
Thank you for your question, Durgesh. We'll be sharing the recording of this session with each one of you who has attended the session and also registered for the session, but for any reason could not attend the session. So you can review and revisit many of the questions that you're asking may get answered there. And we will also be sharing Sunil's coordinates on the email with you for you to stay in touch with him. Stay tuned for that email, which will come to you from us. Over to you, Dr. Abhishek, for your question.
Yeah, thank you, Ashish ji. Very good afternoon to everybody. And Sunil ji, thank you so much for a beautiful session. I was there in a first session as well, when you were launching your book on mindful platforms. Thank you so much. I would love to buy that book and read that as well. But today's session was really, really amazing. I mean, it's something very close to my heart also, because the follower of Lord Krishna myself. Uh, at the same time, I feel that, I don't have a question, first of all. I just have a comment. Um, God is the greatest of the mentors. So I think that kind of an mentality is from where I'm coming in, and then He provides us Guru, and Guru is the one who is your parent, who is your super mentor on this earth during your life journey. At the same time, I feel that guru is the one who takes care of things 360 degrees when it comes to finance, when it comes to life, health, uh, future, past, karmas, multiple aspects. All the angulations are taken care by guru in a 360-degree angle. But at the same time, I would say that he also appoints mentors like you. In my life, I have seen it, that though I'm blessed with a guru, and he's taking 360-degree care of me, complete protection. But at the same time, he appoints mentors like Ashish ji, mentors like Sunil ji, and multiple of financial advisors, or you can say image advisors, or personality advisors, or professional advisors, career counseling advisors. So I think it is all coming from the grace of the guru and the God, the Lord Krishna Himself, and we are connected because of that grace itself. So I really thank God, Guru, and of course, both of you here as a mentor, Sunil ji and Ashish ji, for a beautiful session and an amazing insight. What I loved most in the session was that a mentor is the one who progresses you from doubt to direction, and suffering to strength. I really loved that, and it will stay with me. Thank you so much. God bless you. Thank you.
So thanks, Abhishek, Dr. Abhishek. Thanks for your nice words. And we, as a human being, we all like someone praising us, right?
True
But
that.
one thing is very important, and one I have two before I close, Ashish, 2 minutes. One is I request
Sure.
all of you to become the mentors to somebody in the life. I'm telling you, this is the most pious work one can do to the society. I came back all the way from Singapore. I was an expat CEO, left everything, came back to give back to my society. And I'll tell you the amount of satisfaction, happiness I am getting by mentoring people, coaching people. You can't put a number to that. You can't put a number to that. That's very, very important. All of you people who are attending here, you can be mentor to somebody, but you need to commit that to yourself that I will mentor one, two, three, whatever number of people I know. That's number one. Number two, other thing, of course, I touched upon Guru Shishya Parampara. I don't want to get too much into that. I also have my guru. I found out my guru 5 years back when I came back to India. And we normally say that a guru comes to you, right? A time has to come to you, get the guru. It's not easy to get. But in case of mentoring, it's not like that. So what I'm saying is this is a first stage or a first step. If you want to go towards your guru, at least identify a mentor first. Start that relationship, cultivate, build that relationship with your mentor. Maybe who knows, a guru will walk into your life and change your life. So with this, thank you very much. Thanks to all my friends. And I thought my battlefield is now in my favor. Everyone is laughing and I'm happy. I can see Abhijit, my friend in Nagpur, and a lot of Urmila, many, many faces known to me, many people known to me. So thank you very much, and have a great Saturday afternoon and evening. And of course, cricket matches.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Sunilji, for that wonderful session. And that, I really love this part that mentor is, maybe what will guide you. It's a step forward towards getting your guru, and you can get a mentor, but guru has to come and get you. So that's a very good clarity and amazing insight, that start mentoring, being a mentor to someone, also seek a mentor, it's a two-way street. You seek mentor and become a mentor. I think that's a very powerful note for you to take forward as we get ready to step into 2026. Start helping people, start reaching out and seeking help. One of the things I have been struggling with is to ask for help. Asking for help doesn't come very easy to me. And, I personally reached out to Sunilji and, I have requested time with him. So that's the step I am taking. So you also take steps. Identify mentor. One thing I would like to share with you is I think Sunil ji mentioned that you can have multiple mentors. So sometimes we look at a person and we say he's very good at this, but I don't like this part about him. But don't forget the part that you don't like about him. Go to him for the part that he is good at, and focus on the good that that person brings to you and the value that he can add to you in that area. Once again, thank you to each one of you for taking out time, participating actively, for your feedback, for joining Mindful Living community, for sharing your inputs and ask your questions. Have a wonderful, weekend ahead. Next Saturday, we will have another session on Bhagavad Gita, leadership lessons from Bhagavad Gita, and we will have my dear friend Santosh Kotnis talking about leadership lessons. He is the founder of a very fast growing IT firm, which is growing with footprints across UAE, Europe, and US. And he's going to talk about how personally he has benefited a lot from the clarity that Bhagavad Gita brings to him. A graduate from prestigious IIT Bombay. Please join us. That session will be at, I think, 4 p.m., 3 or 4 p.m. Stay tuned. The details will come to you in the Mindful Living WhatsApp group. So stay tuned, be happy, and wish you all the very best. Have a wonderful week. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Have a great
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.